Bob, I appreciate you jumping on and joining me on this call. You just announced after 30 plus years in the corporate world that you decided to retire from corporate life, which was an interesting way to put it. But you had a great run at Lincoln where you did a lot of things there. I was fortunate enough to be working with you in some of those. Went to Sun Life, you built out an entire new platform there. You went to Ash Brokerage and ran the sales department there. You went to Global Atlantic and we built out the life business together and helped build that into a top five player. And then most recently, you were at John Hancock, again, where you had a big impact. So, what was going through your head to step away from the corporate world when you made the decision recently?
I think I was, it just felt the right time to explore a new opportunity that had a little bit more time flexibility for me and a little bit more, kind of creative impact on the bottom line. I had a lot of great years on the carrier side, built some really good businesses that have lived on and, supported by recruiting good salespeople that are, now continued on in those companies and those businesses. And that was great. But I'm really looking forward to, kind of figuring out how to have that kind of impact on the independent side as well.
Well, I'm thrilled. Like I said, I had the opportunity to work with you for many of those years, not all of the 38, but quite a few of them. And you have had an impact. You had a huge impact on not just the companies, but individuals. I've told everyone, you've been a mentor to me since I think you flew down to Memphis on a rocky flight when, 20 plus years ago and convinced
Yeah.
me I wasn't a salesperson, I was a manager. And since then, we've been able to work together and done some things. So I'm super, super excited to be announcing that you're joining Vibe, not just as head of distribution, but also part owner. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts. You could have stayed. You could have gone to a lot of different places, done a lot of different things. So, why Vibe? What did you see in the opportunity and what are you excited about?
Well, it feels like there's an opportunity on the independent side to really help these folks that are recruiting agents, trying to build their businesses. These independent agency principals. A lot of the things that we've done with wholesalers on the carrier side over time, I think the fundamentals apply. And there's a movement in the practice now and out in the market now. There's been a lot of consolidation in the space, and I think there's an opportunity to to help these folks that are really staunchly independent, to find that right home where they can continue to grow their business and support the producers that they work with, and give them a great experience. And I think the fundamentals of what you're trying to build with Vibe just kind of connect with that for me. And I think a lot of the stuff that we did to build these new businesses for the carrier side are going to apply here as we do that for Vibe.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I was most excited about. I think we both share, the same vision. We both had a passion when we were at carriers to work with general agents and help them grow their business. And, we did everything we could from a carrier perspective, but I think, over time we built relationships there and we got to understand the business. And I think we both see the markets in the same place, and that we've gotten away a little bit from the sense of community, from the networking, with all the consolidation that's gone on, which that's not a bad thing, but I think there's a lot of general agents out there that are independent that feel kind of left out. And so that was one of the things when I was trying to decide, what I wanted to do. I wanted to focus on those folks that I'm passionate about, which are independent general agents, and how can we bring solutions to them. And we've had so many conversations through the years about that because we could
Yeah.
see it from a carrier perspective that the market really didn't fit a lot of those agents. And so for me, it was that opportunity to go back and kind of revisit, okay, what could we do to be part of the industry and a part, with those general agents that I've known and respected for a long time. So so having you come on board was a big plus, and I think that's an area that we're definitely aligned with.
Yeah, and I think those fundamentals that we use to build those businesses, to me, they apply, right? So when we were looking at building sales teams, we had to go hire great people. We had to build a model and a structure that would allow them to succeed. And then our job on the management side was to get obstacles out of their way so that they could go be successful. And to me, all those things apply when we're working in this space, right? Let's go recruit some great general agents that they think about the business the way we do, and they want that sense of community and that culture, that we have the right platform for them. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later today on the Vibe platform, and why we believe it's set up for them to succeed. And then ultimately on a day-to-day basis, are we doing the kind of things as a leadership team to make life simple for them and getting obstacles out of their way, right? So all those things that we did to win on the carrier side, I think are going to apply here.
One of the things that I think we both understand is what is a carrier looking for in a good relationship, because we've been there making decisions. Who do you invest in with your time and your talent and your resources? And, we want to be that partner to the carriers where we're knocking down all walls that they have to get to these general agents and really aligning them in a way that they can be successful. And I think the industry's gotten a little bit away from that too with all the consolidation. And so we're looking for really good partners out there with carriers that we can do a deep dive with our general agents and build long-term commitments to them. And so I think that's part of the vision too, is just bringing those two groups together using our background experience to make that work for all parties.
Yeah, and I think it'll help that we've lived on the carrier side. We've done the jobs that of the folks that we're going to be interacting with, so that we can kind of understand the business from their perspective, and then that we are kind of treating them as we would have wanted been treated in those roles as a partner, and not
Yep.
it being a kind of a one-way street, right? We're the producer, so you do what we need to do. We're asking you to do. I think we have a good perspective that allow it to be a mutual relationship and a mutually productive relationship. So when you left Global Atlantic, when we stopped working together, you decided not to pursue the next corporate job and take an opportunity to jump out on your own and build something from scratch. What was behind that decision?
Yeah, it was a unique opportunity where I had some time to just sit back. I think the first time in a long time, and just reflect on, lifestyle wise, what did I want to do? And it really came down to where I'm most passionate. And that was always working with distribution partners, particularly independent general agents. And the reason why, it's actually in our name, by the way, it's, they have a vision, they're inspired. And I always loved that. Like my entire career, that was something that I gravitated towards. And I wanted to bring the business excellence to it. After many, many years in the corporate world, we're forced to learn all kind of different fun things on the business side. And, we've had experience doing that. And one thing that was obvious to me was these general agents, in order to run the business the way they want, is you have to have scalable solutions. And it's really hard to do that if you're a single individual general agent, to get enough volume to get these scalable solutions, whether it's carriers and compensation or technology, those types of things. And so that's what I was passionate about, was I felt confident that I could bring tools and resources and build the right structure so these people can stay independent, but create a good sense of community, to give them the lifestyle that they've been pursuing and help them grow their business as well.
So is there a particular type of customer that you're focused on? There's lots of distributors out there. So have you kind of narrowed in on which type of producer agency fits the mold for Vibe?
Absolutely. I think it all starts with folks that are independent minded. And so, these are independent general agents, again, that are wanting to grow their business, and they're looking for scalable solutions and a sense of community. So, how can we give them tools that they would struggle to get just on their own to help them grow their business? And how can we help align the resources we have and the experience we have to give them the ability to grow their business? And so, so that's what I'm looking for. Everyone's a little different because they're independent the way they're structured. So some are in 4 national markets, some are in everyday mom and pop sales, could be point of sale markets and institutions. But it all comes down to a group of people with a vision and they're inspired to grow their business. They want to remain independent and they want a sense of community to help them accomplish that. Those are kind of the fundamentals of what works in our model.
And do you see for the most part, these are agencies or general agents that are recruiting producers on a daily basis? Is that the type of agency you're looking for?
Most of them are. I think most of them are out there looking to grow their business, and they're doing that with their existing producers to how can they bring more and better ideas and resources, but also how can they bring in new people into the business and other agents into their distribution. So everyone's model is a little different, but on average, I would say it's people that are out there hungry to grow their business and recruit agents.
Okay. Well, you mentioned scalable a couple of times. What does that look like? Give us an example of what is scalable in this context.
Yeah, so for really the first 6 months, I was on a listening tour talking to the agencies that I felt could be a good fit. And the things I heard over and over, number one and most important is carrier access and relationship and competitive compensation. So those are the fundamentals. You have to have that. But it's really hard if you're a single general agent to have a broad enough portfolio with carriers where you can align with them that closely. It's just hard to get those production numbers.
Yep.
And that's where a scalable platform comes in, which allows us to bring a whole host of carriers, and the collective group can hit the numbers we need to hit to maintain those top contracts. So that's the first thing. The second thing I heard is CRM system and technology platforms, and I've experienced it firsthand. I thought there'd be some just easy plug and play, and someone's already figured this thing out and it's running smooth. I found that wasn't the case at all. And so, how can we use our scale with all these collective agents and agencies to bring things like a CRM system that works for people, top-down marketing. We're going to announce soon an annuity platform that is, world-class. That couldn't happen with an individual agency. We just launched a AI-driven final expense and term platform that wouldn't happen unless you had a scalable model. So those are some of the things. And I think what's left out the most, I hate to put relationships as scalable, but it's really hard, again, when you're a true independent agency out there on your own, it's hard to create that network of peers that you can learn from. And so that's looking at scale a little different, but that's a big part of our model too, is we want to bring that back, that sense of community with study groups, regular meetings, sharing ideas and best practices. So that's what we focus on when I'm talking about scalable.
Well, we both grew up on the side of the business with, we're really where life insurance was our core product suite, a little bit of long-term care here and there. And then later in our careers, annuities came into play. It seems like most of the producers that we're talking with these days are doing a little bit of everything, maybe to some degree or the other. So talk a little bit more about the annuity platform and what you're seeing there.
I'm really excited about the platform that we built and that we're rolling out. And as I was on my listening tour, it became really clear that um, these general agencies were having to go to multiple different places for annuity solutions. Some was direct to carrier, some was through other IMOs, but it didn't create a unique experience for their producers, for their agents. And so they were looking for a home where they could get everything done, create a great experience, and have the same world-class experience as if that producer or that agent went to one of the bigger IMOs. And number one, it's going to drive a lot more sales by creating this easy platform for them. But number two, it's going to help retention. And so when those agents that are working with the general agents around life insurance, when they need annuities, they don't have to go look for a big name IMO to create that experience. We have it right here at Vibe now, which again, is just another tool for our general agents. So with the markets hot right now with rates, the timing's perfect. But that's an example of what we've built is a platform that's comprehensive from a agency portal to dedicated people working the phones for us, running illustrations, talking about what products are hot, and just making sure that people are aware of what's out there and we can get those products to them easily.
And then it sounds like, whether you're doing 10 million today as an agency or 100 million by coming in through the Vibe community and the Vibe platform, you're going to get that same world-class experience.
Absolutely. And I think that's important because if you're a life insurance agent and you happen to sell annuities, which we have a lot of people like that, you want to have confidence that you have a center of excellence that you can go to and that they're going to provide you with the best experience, but also get you the appropriate solution for your clients. And so that's why we built it out, whether it's going onto the portal and doing your own homework and being able to pull rates and illustrations by yourself, or you want to pick up the phone and talk to an expert and say, hey, I've got a person, what do I need to do here? That's what we built, was just to have that world-class experience in a very convenient way.
So does the final expense and the simplified term platform act in a similar way?
Yeah, this is a platform that I've worked with for right at a year now, and I'm very excited about it. Um, it's using technology that it's AI driven, first of all, which I'm learning more and more every day, that I had no clue what that meant. Thought I did, but I didn't. But forget about that. So what does that do for you? It's a way for an agent to go on and in real time run illustrations in a user-friendly way. It's got a robo advisor, so you could type in like, I have a client, here's what they look like, here's what they're looking for, and it's going to give you some advice on product and carriers. Um, 5 simple questions on drop-down boxes. It's going to help you, tell you what rating you should expect and what carriers you can have the best outcome. And then you can actually apply and issue the insurance instantly, assuming they fit the profile. So um, it's done in a way where it's as easy as you can send a link to a potential client saying, hey, log on here and you can you can explore all the different options yourself and go ahead and self-serve and apply to what you want. And it'll guide them through it in a very user-friendly experience. And so it really opens the door for final expense producers that can also sell traditional life. But it's also a great experience for existing clients that say, hey, I need term insurance or I need a final expense policy. Sometimes it doesn't make financial sense to spend a whole lot of time on some of these smaller cases. But
Right.
if you can send a link and create a great experience, that's what it's all about.
So overall, it sounds like the general agent will be able to serve more types of producers, and then those producers will be able to serve more types of clients and broaden their business with it.
That's the plan. So if you look at the annuity platform, this final expense platform, and our traditional life platform, that's very broad from, every type of traditional life insurance needs you might have, no matter how sophisticated or small, to instant issue type solutions on term and final expense, to annuity solutions, as well as disability and long-term care. So we've built the platform so those general agents can go after all those markets, which, cover a huge portion of what's out there.
So you mentioned early on, when kind of describing vibe, the importance of that sense of community. Can you talk a little bit about, how you think about that and why you think that's a big factor in building vibe?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important parts of Vibe story is bringing back that sense of community. Um, a lot of us have been in the industry for a long time, myself and you included. And for a very long time, it was all about personal relationships and networking, and that's how people got better. They would learn from each other, and there were a lot of study groups out there. There were a lot of in-person meetings. And a lot of times the best ideas are not shared actually during the meeting. It's afterwards as you're sitting by the pool talking to a peer saying, how do you do that? Like how are you finding these leads, or how are you recruiting these agents? Because I'm struggling. And they share something with you. Study groups were critical back in the day too, in that just learning what are some of the new techniques that are out there. What are you doing with, as a producer? How are you bringing up a subject? I'm not having any success with long-term care. How are you talking about it? You seem to have a lot of success. Or I'm not sure how to use premium finance in a rate market like this. Or, apparently you're having success. How are you doing it? So as we built out the model, it's really built about creating that sense of community in 2 levels. One is with the general agents, so they can network. And we have 2 meetings. We have a spring meeting and a fall meeting with general agents to do just that, to bring them in, let them work with carriers, but most importantly, to kind of facilitate conversations between themselves. And then we're building out study groups for producers where we can get like-minded producers to come together where they can share ideas. And so, um, that and with reward trips that we'll be offering and other carriers are offering, we've all grown up traveling the world, getting to know each other. I mean, I
Right.
think I don't, God knows how many trips we've been on, but a lot. And that's how we get to know these people. We get to know their families, their wives, their kids, and that's important. And I think a lot of people are missing that, so we're bringing that back.
It's interesting that we're focusing on independents, independent agencies, independent producers. They're some of them operate in a regional market, but a lot of them operate nationally. So do you find it hard to create that sense of community when to some degree these guys are competing against each other every day, but they're you think they're also willing to share ideas with each other.
That's a really good question. And as you know, we've struggled with that through the years as we've tried to create that from the carrier side. So there are a couple things. I think technology has changed the game since COVID, and that people are used to doing meetings like this, Zoom meetings, and that opens the door to be a lot more efficient, just having higher frequency of conversations with people. Number two, though, what has been lost during that window again was that sense of community and connecting. And what I found with these general agents, yes, they are competitive. Yes, they are going after the same people. They all have their unique brands. They all have their unique value props. Every once in a while, they run into each other, but they get more out of it than they lose by sharing ideas and best practices. So I think they're very hungry. And a lot of times, it's not just sales or sales practices or producers. It's, hey, how are you using your CRM system? Because we're not having any success with ours.
Yeah.
Or what are you doing from a marketing perspective? Because we just haven't found the right thing. We need to revamp our website. What would you suggest? Because you have a nice website. Ours isn't that nice. Um, we saw the platform for final expense, but not sure how to get that going. It looks like you have sales going. How should we do it? So I think there's big picture things that they're more than happy to share with, and I think they see the value to help them grow, learning from peers.
Yeah, and it sounds like too from we're the ones that are out recruiting these agencies, right? So we'll have the opportunity to try to profile the ones that align with that goal and that desire.
Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to do is kind of create that network of people with similar values and views.
So you've been at this a little over a year. Um, any kind of big learnings from you of things that you found that, oh, yeah, this is exactly what I expected, and maybe a thing or two that surprised you over that period of time.
Yeah, oh, there's been big learnings. That is for sure. I thought I had it all mapped out and, could just quickly move and create the perfect thing. And it was harder than that, which I'm glad because if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it.
Right.
So it has been a lot of work. I've learned a lot, I've made a lot of decisions and realized, 60 days later, whoops, I need to go in another direction. And I make those, changes. But I would say what has been surprising in a positive way is the carrier's response to the model has been overwhelmingly positive. So, I've been able to build relationships for a long time, just being in the industry for a while. And so as I work with head of distributions or head of sales, they all see the value that we're building, and they have the same perspective I had, which is the industry has a need for it. And so I've been really surprised how the carriers themselves have been so proactive to help us grow, give us what we need to do, and are really, really good partners. So that's one. The second is the general agents that I've known for a long time. As I've listened to them and talked to them about it, they're the same way. I had folks jump on board before I even asked anyone to jump on board. They said, "Hey, we're on board because we know it's going to be great." So I've been very appreciative just of the long-term relationships that I've had, that they've been so willing to help, and just motivates me to give back more and build out the perfect model for them. So those are the things that kind of jump out the most.
So how about a surprise or two that kind of came up that was unexpected?
Yeah, technology. again, I think I just assumed that there were some cookie cutter templates that everyone has figured out how to create a good experience, whether it's licensing and contracting or, a whole host of other type of things that drive technology. And I was really surprised as I've, looked around and done a ton of research that um, that wasn't necessarily there. You really do have to spend time and resources to put that all together, which we've done. But that was probably the biggest surprise I had, was that was a heavier lift than I anticipated.
Okay. So talk a little bit about the end game. So, you've gotten to this point over the year. You've recruited a handful of really good agencies at this point, and like where do you see this going?
Yeah, I put a lot of thought into that. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to go out there and create, 100 agencies in membership, because we couldn't create what I want to create, which is that very personal, hands-on, helping them build their business, bringing scalable solutions, sense of community. Can't do that if I just let everyone in the building. And so I've been very focused on who we have joined. I've turned down some what I would consider pretty good distributors that, would drive revenue but wouldn't drive culture. So the end game is to have 20 to 25 general agents doing over 60 million of life insurance production and billionish of annuity production. The reason why I like that number is it gives us the scale we need to hit carrier contracts and keep the highest levels. It allows us to have the resources that we need to do things around community, such as trips and study events. But it's not too big. I think with the right team, we can focus on 25 agencies, because our goal is to help those 25 grow. So assume we waved the magic wand and we had 25 agencies today doing 60 million. Our goal now is to get to 100 million, but it's not to recruit anymore.
Yeah.
It's to sit down with those 25 and say, hey, how can we double sales over the next 3 to 5 years? And I think that's what makes us unique, is that we're very lean by design, and we're very focused on growth of the members that we do have, and not just throwing new members in to stack on top to get numbers. So um, that's the end game, is to have a tight knit group of 25 like-minded folks with vision that are inspired, and really help them, double and triple their business.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's back to the connection to our carrier life and wholesalers, right? It's a little bit of where our philosophy was on wholesaling teams.
Yep.
Whereas, hey, we didn't need 50 people. We needed the 10 or 15 best, and then build the platform to allow them to have that success. And that sounds a lot like what you're trying to do here with recruiting the right agencies.
100%. I think if we stick to our guns and we continue to bring in agencies that like to give back, so those that want that sense of community and those that want to help each other, then it's gonna help all of our members grow, and it's gonna help us get to the ultimate numbers that we want to get to. So it is definitely, less is better. I don't want the huge fleet.
Yeah.
I think 25 is very manageable, so that's the focus.
So Vibe's an insurance agency, but there's also a consulting arm. Can you talk a little bit about the why you think there's value in having both those pieces to the business?
Yeah, and that is also one of the surprises that I kind of ran into that has worked out in a positive way. So when I first started out, I was, trying to think through what do I want to do. Well, I naturally received some phone calls just because I'm old enough and I've been in the industry long enough. And, I found out real quick that there were a lot of carriers that were interested in things that I've done over the years. So how do you build out closely aligned general agents? How do you go into financial institutions? How do you build a training program around wholesalers? How should you structure a hybrid desk? How do you use analytics around activity modeling? Those were things I was getting hit with. So that's why I started consulting, because I thought, okay, apparently there's a market there. That led to other consultants joining the group. So we now have, 8 or 9 consultants in various areas on the team, and we've helped each other out by referring each other to our own specialties. Um, Where it's really helped, I think, the distribution organization is I see where the puck's going. So whether it's with insurtech firms, so I mentioned our AI platform for final expense and term. That's a insurtech firm that I've been consulting with for a year. And so I've helped them get in distribution. I've helped them add products onto the platform, helped align them with partner carriers. And then it just became obvious, hey, that platform could really help general agents. So they built a proprietary platform for Vibe. So that's one example of how the consulting helps. Um, some of the carriers that I'm working with, when I know the direction they want to go, the markets they want to get in, and I have agencies that are in those spaces, I can bring them kind of first to use as a pilot. So whether it's foreign national, we have a carrier we're working with around foreign national launch. I have folks on the platform that are experts there, so I can bring that to help the carrier get insight, but also gives us first dibs at distribution. So it all kind of bleeds together. There's some other technology platforms out there. We built a great commission portal, and that was a referral from another one of our consultants who was consulting with an insurtech company that was using AI for commissions reconciliation. And so I think it's just a way to keep out there and kind of know what's going on in the market and bring those to our general agents when it makes sense.
Yeah, I think you also feel like there'll be opportunities there to help the general agents find growth opportunities through those kind of strategic relationships, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, final expense is a great example. There are plenty of general agents out there that might not go after final expense market because it's just not their market. It's a different carrier group. It's a different marketplace, and those producers are a little different. However, those same producers are licensed to sell insurance and annuities and disability and everything else, and they run into bigger opportunities. So, can you take a technology platform that's going to make it easy and simple for the general agents so they could bring it and go recruit? That opens the door for them to bring in a whole new pool of people, train them how to sell traditional products, sell annuities, and helps them grow their business. So that's an example of how a platform like that, just trying to figure that out on your own probably wouldn't make sense. But if it's all packaged in a way, then it does make some sense.